Today's edition of Mac Voices is sponsored by Drobo, a family of safe, expandable, yet simple-to-use storage arrays. Drobos are designed to protect your important data forever. This holiday season, give someone a Drobo to keep all their files and memories safe forever. And by Smile, the makers of world-class software like PDF Pen for Mac, PDF Pen Pro for Mac, PDF Pen for iPhone and iPad, PDF Pen Scan Plus for iPhone and iPad, Text Expander for Mac, and Text Expander for iPhone and iPad. Learn more about all their great products at smilesoftware.com. Welcome to the MacJury on Mac Voices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, this is a little bit different MacJury because we usually tackle a topic or so here. This time, though, we're going to combine it with an interview and discussion of a new product or service, depending on how you look at it, and cover it from a couple different angles because it deserves to be covered from a couple different angles. It'll make more sense as we go along. So let me start to introduce our guests, and we'll take it from there. First up, and sort of our featured guest, Mr. Oleksandr Kosovan, the CEO of MacPaw. Alex, welcome to the show. It's great to have you for the very first time.
Hello. I'm really pleased to be here for the first time. So my name is Oleksandr Kosovan. I'm the CEO and founder of MacPaw and creator of Setapp. I'm really pleased to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Well, it's so great to have you, and on top of the invitation, we're so glad that, or appreciate you staying up late because you're in Kiev, and that's quite a bit different than the time zones that I and the rest of our guests are in. So thank you so much for the extra effort.
You're welcome. It's not too late here.
Well, good. I'm glad. Also with us, sort of participating in Setapp, so he'll be covering it discussing it, I should say, from the vendor's perspective, Mr. Brett Terpstra. Brett, welcome back. It's good to see you.
It is wonderful to be here.
It's always good. For the folks who may not be familiar with you, although everybody should be, where can they find you and what do you do?
Well, I blog at brettterpstra.com these days. And I write an app called Marked, at this point, Mark 2, and that will be included in Setapp. And that's, I think, why I'm here. But it's also a kind of a labor of love. It's one of my favorite apps to write and use. So, yeah. And then I'm a podcaster, and I work with the press. I have Systematic and Overtired with Christina Warren on ESN. Worth looking up, I think. Yeah, I do a lot. I have a lot of perspectives.
Well, then share them all today, Brett, please. Our third and final guest, last but absolutely not least, Mr. Jeff Gamet from the Mac Observer. Jeff, it's great to have you. Thanks for being here.
And hey, it's great to be here, as always. You probably want me to tell people where I'm from, don't you?
If you don't mind. I mean, I sort of stole a little bit of the thunder, but you can do the rest.
Oh, sorry. All right. Well, anyhow, yeah, I'm over at Mac Observer with a bunch of other awesome writers and on a bunch of podcasts, including Mac Observer's Daily Observations.
Great. It's always great to have you, Jeff.
It's always fun to be here.
So as I said at the introduction, this is a little bit different because we're talking about Setapp, a new service, and I'm going to couch it that way to start, Alex, from MacPaw. Alex, I'm going to ask you to explain what Setapp is and why we should be excited about it.
Well, thank you. So Setapp is a revolutionary app store that I hope will be the next big thing on the Mac platform. So what we are offering with Setapp is the best apps you could find on the Mac platform available through a single subscription. So in fewer words, it's something similar to Netflix, but for apps.
Okay, so I subscribe to Setapp, and that means I have access to all of the apps or some of the apps on the platform?
Yes, so the idea behind the Setapp is to give people access to all of the applications inside for a single subscription fee per month. So all of the apps will be fully functional without any in-app purchases, advertisement, or annoying stuff like that. So what you get is a full app experience for a single price per month.
So it's sort of like a subscription model that some of the software vendors have adopted, but it covers multiple apps.
Yeah, this was the idea behind Setapp. We try to solve a lot of problems both for users and developers, and one of those problems were continuous and recurring revenue flow for the developers, and in the same time an easy access to the software and upgrades for the customers. So with Setapp, we came up with an idea how to solve a lot of these problems in the same time for all of the audiences.
To set folks' expectations and sort of lay the groundwork here for our discussion, what kind of pricing are we talking about for Setapp?
It's $9.99 per month, and all of the apps included. So at the very beginning, we are planning to start from 60 apps, and then we're not planning to have thousands of them. But we hope that in a few months, we will have around 300 of only the best apps on the Mac platform. So as a customer, you will get access to all of these apps without any additional fees.
Do you mind naming at least some of the apps? I don't think we want to do the whole list of 60, but give us an idea of some of the names we might know a little better than others.
Yeah, so we got really great apps like Marked 2 from Brett. Also, real Mac software like Rapid Weaver, iStart Menus, iMazing, and a lot of other great apps already available there. So right now we are still in beta, but we already have 50 apps today.
Wow, that's impressive. That's impressive. So for $10 a month, I have access to, at this point, 50 to 60 apps, probably targeting somewhere toward 300. Do you anticipate the price going up as you get more apps, or is it going to stay pretty flat?
The idea is to have a flat price for all the customers, not depending on what apps that the customer actually use. And based on the model for the developers that we have, it will be really interesting for the developers as well.
Okay. So we'll talk about some of the more technical aspects of this later. Brett, I want to shift over to you because you're obviously, as Alex said, one of the vendors who's publishing through Setapp. I'm curious to see what your reaction or what was when you were approached with this, and what it is now that it's actually come to fruition.
So the first email I got said we want to propose a subscription model for Marked, which I immediately said no, because a lot of my favorite apps have gone to subscription models, and I've watched the reaction from the public. It's a great idea for developers to be able to have recurring income from an app, because traditionally, over the last decade, you make an app, you sell it one time, and then you basically owe free upgrades to people for years, and all of the work you put into it after that is maintenance for existing customers. So I love the idea of subscription models. It funds better development. But in general, it's kind of like on the Apple TV when you start paying for HBO and you start paying for Showtime and CBS and all of the individually available subscription packages, pretty soon you're paying the same as cable. And I cut my cable and I started to see it add up. Same with software. So my initial reaction was that's just not, to me, a sustainable idea. But then I got on the phone with Alex and another developer, maybe two, and he explained this idea of it is like when he said it's like Netflix for apps. It's this idea that you can bring it all down to one fee per month and have access to all of these really good apps. And Alex didn't do a full list, obviously, but I mean, Task Paper, iThoughts X, iStats Menu, he did mention, and then all the MacPaw software like CleanMyMac and Gemini. I sound like I'm doing an infomercial for it, but after the phone call, I was really excited. Like, I am really, really excited to be part of the launch. I think it is actually a new kind of app store, and it's something that is actually feasible and sustainable both for developers and users.
So we have been trying to solve the same problem as Brad has. Like, you cannot offer a single app for a subscription easily. So it's very hard to explain customers, why do I have to pay every month for the same software all the time? And for most of the apps, it's almost impossible to do, like Marked or Gemini, for example. But in the same time, this software requires an updates, requires continuous support, maintenance, and stuff like that. So the only option developers have right now is to release major upgrades and charge for this major upgrade. And for users in the same time, they don't have access to all the new features, all the new functionality, because developers have to hold this to promote a new upgrade. And with subscription model, why it is good for the customers, it's because you can continuously develop and improve software, and if people still use it and pay for the subscription, you will earn from it. And this is good for developers and users. And yeah.
No, please.
And this is why we came up with an idea of Setapp. It is like a subscription model, the way that users will actually love to pay.
Jeff, I'm anxious to get your reaction. When I first heard about this, I was a little skeptical. The things that kind of took me to the next level were, number one, MacPaw was involved, but number two, this feels a little bit more like it could be. In my mind, it can be a little more like the micropayments we've discussed both on and off camera together, where one of the problems with subscription software for an individual vendor seems to be that in order to make it work, they have to charge not a huge amount of money, but an amount of money that gives us pause to make it viable because of all the overheads and everything. This seems to solve a lot of that problem.
All right, so yes, maybe it does. And okay, so when I first heard about this package, my initial reaction was, oh geez, here we go again, the Netflix of something. And it's to me, when you hear someone say the Netflix of whatever, it's like people talking about this is the Uber of whatever. And I immediately become skeptical. And so as I started like really looking into what it was, and then got into the beta so I could play with it, then it clicked for me. This is a software subscription co-op for developers. So instead of having to come up with all of these separate prices that add up over time, like Brett was saying, and ultimately become more expensive than what you were paying before, it keeps the price low. And now you have all of these apps that you have access to when you need them. So you can add and remove apps at your convenience. So I think it's a really cool concept. And right now I'm at the point where I have two big questions myself. And the first one is, how does this work for the developers? Because if you have $9.99 a month coming in from each of your subscribers, how does that play out for developers so that it's worth their time to continue to participate? And I guess I have several questions. Then the next question would be, what if at some point a developer says, I'm not interested in participating anymore, and they pull out? Do all the people that are currently subscribing and using that app, do they just suddenly lose the app?
Okay, I'll try to answer all of them. Let's start from the developers. So when we started working on Setapp, it was about a year ago, we started from analyzing a lot of data on how customers actually use software. So we analyzed a lot of usage behavior of the customers, and we analyzed what apps do people use every month, how many apps do they use, how much time do they spend in the apps. And based on this data, we were able to, first of all, pick up only like the great apps on the market, because there are a lot of them, thousands of them, and we picked up only the ones that are really popular, that are used quite frequently. And also we try to understand what financial model will work for the project like this. And there were a lot of different models that we tried, and we came up with a very simple to understand and working model for the developers, for the software. So how does it work? So we take a customer fee that he pays every month, and we divide this fee between the apps that this particular customer used during his billing cycle, billing months. And also each app has different value on the market. There are some simpler software that costs probably $9, and there are more complicated solutions like for $70, and they have a different value on the market. But in the same time, it doesn't really matter how often people use this software per month. It may be everyday use application, or it may be one time per month use application. So based on all this data, we will be dividing the user fee between the apps he used, and based on the app price coefficients that each of these app has. So let's imagine there are two apps, like one $19.99 and another is $19.99. So these apps will have user fee split between 1/10 and 9/10 of the user fee. So actually, there are not that many apps that people use every month. But based on our research, it is not more than 10 apps in general. So taking all this data together, we came up with this really simple financial model, and it really works. And from the data we already have right now, like we started the beta in the beginning of the December, and our predictions are really match current results. So there are like 80% correlation with what we predicted back then. Was it clear?
Yeah. So to put arbitrary amounts to this, depending on the value of an app, like its street price, and how many people are downloading it, one developer may get like a nickel a month, and then another developer may get $1 a month. And it's just, so it's based on the value and how many people are actually downloading the app at any given time.
Yes, correctly. So the more popular the app, the more users will use it, and the more other software people use, the more like divided the payment will be among this software. But in general, the average numbers are pretty interesting for the developers. And if we take a period of 1 year, for example, so most of the apps will earn pretty relative to what they cost on the market.
Okay, so then let's say that a developer 6 months from now decides that this isn't the business model for them, and so they pull out of the program. I'm assuming that a user will still have other data files, because that's all stored locally. What happens to the app for those people?
Well, this is a really important question for the customers, and we talked through this question with the developers, and we agreed to have their app left for the customers who are already using the app, but it won't be available for the new customers. And developers will continue to receive money from the customers that use their software. So the customers that are already using it will not lose data or anything.
Okay.
Alex, I want to make sure that, because I thought I heard you say something and to use Jeff's example, is it based on how many people download it per month, or are you tracking how much? Let's say there are 3 apps in Setapp, and I'm using one every day, but I'm using the others only maybe once every 2 months. Is it based on that, or is it just a matter of, okay, I've downloaded app number 1 and app number 2, so that's where my $9.99 gets distributed?
It is based on actual usage, not the downloads. So if you use the app, this developer will receive the commission from you.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, so if I use an app every day, the developer is going to get more money than if I use it twice a month.
Not exactly, and this is the idea how to balance the system, because as I said, there are apps that you use every day, like probably mail client or Twitter client or stuff like that, and there are apps that provides the same, probably even more value, but you use it once or twice per month. And so based on our model, both of the developers will receive a fee from the customer, even if the customer used the app every day or once per month.
Okay. I know I keep coming back to this, and what it comes down to for me is developers put so much effort into their apps, and they deserve to be rewarded for their efforts. And if there's not an incentive for them to continue developing their apps, then something that I rely on it may go away. And basically what it comes down to is I like knowing that the developers are being taken care of.
Can I jump in on that?
Absolutely.
So the model, yes, the coefficient times usage payment to developers looks great to me. Once
cool.
When you look at if MacPaw reaches their estimated number of users, it will actually be a very good revenue stream for me. But the beauty of it is that it doesn't. It's not exclusive. I can still sell through all the other channels that I'm selling through. I can sell direct to customers through Paddle. I can sell through the Mac App Store, but then I can also provide my app to the Setapp App Store.
Okay, so this becomes a supplemental revenue as opposed to a primary revenue.
At this point, yeah, I'm hoping it becomes a primary revenue source. But the same updates I'm already writing for the Mac App Store and for direct customers, I can just add to Setapp. And I already set up a new build target that removes all in-app purchases, just makes them automatically available, and all trial limits. I mean, like when you look at one of the biggest complaints about the Mac App Store would be you can't have trials. You can't have free trials without gaming kind of the existing system.
Right.
And upgrades, you can't have paid upgrades without creating a whole new app. And these are things that if you are getting a subscription fee and it's for the customers and the developers, those two issues are amazingly well solved with this. So I think it's really good for developers. I can't see a reason. I think people should be lining up and asking to get in.
Well, What else that should be interesting for developers is that actually when you sold a copy to the customer, so he already paid for your app, there is limited opportunities to upsell the customer and increase lifetime value. And with Setapp, we are offering developers an easy way to upsell these customers. So if you offer your existing customer, to use your app on Setapp alongside with a lot of other great Mac applications, at the same time you will start earning additional money from this customer if he will continue to use your app. And this is good for developers that already have some customer base, and they can also upsell to them.
Yeah, it's basically an affiliate commission if you convert your current customers into Setapp. Yeah.
Okay.
And not only affiliate commission, it's like if they continue to use your app, you will get like commission from these customers. And like Brad mentioned, we also have a great incentive program for developers for bringing their customers to the platform. And we really expect to have developers help us a lot to bring a lot of new customers into the platform. So we offer like 20% lifetime commission from the customer that developer brought into the system. So even if the customer does not use your app, you will still get this commission all the time, unless the customer decides to leave.
Okay, I want to make sure I heard that right. Yeah. So if I have bought program X out here, but then I start using the Setapp version, I've already paid the developer for this version. If I use the Setapp version, then they're getting paid an additional revenue because I've used the Setapp version?
Yes, correctly. So it is like an general commission for all of the apps. If you use the app, the money that you pay to Setapp will be added to this app.
Smile and their amazing suite of productivity software is sponsoring today's edition of MacVoices. Smile helps you get more done with PDF Pen, available in various flavors for Mac and iOS, PDF Pen Scan Plus for iOS, and Text Expander for Mac and iOS. Get all the details at smilesoftware.com. PDF Pen from Smile lets you do all those things with PDFs that you wanted to but can't. Things like editing them, things like annotating them, things like securely redacting them so that information you don't want seen can't be seen. Things like exporting your PDFs in Word format so they can be edited with Microsoft Word or Apple's Pages. Things like running optical character recognition on them so those annoying PDFs that come from the Office copier scanner can be used the way you want them to. Those are just some of the things you knew you wanted to do but couldn't. But there are other things that you might not have thought of. Things like storing your PDFs in the cloud using Dropbox or iCloud, editing them on your iDevice with PDF Pen for iPad and iPhone, reordering or deleting pages in multi-page PDFs. Step up to PDF Pen Pro for interactive PDF forms, exporting to Excel, PowerPoint, and PDF archive formats, capture whole websites into a PDF for reference or offline viewing, and much, much more. Now, in the new PDF Pen 8.3, Smile has added Touch Bar support, so that shiny new MacBook Pro with Touch Bar just became all the more powerful, since you can use Apple's latest and greatest with Smile's latest and greatest. Check out PDF Pen and PDF Pen Pro for Mac right now by downloading the free trial at smilesoftware.com and see if you can find something you want to do with PDFs that you can't. If you do, let Smile know. They're probably working on it already. If you don't, then buy the flavor of PDF Pen that suits your needs directly from Smile at smilesoftware.com and tell them Chuck sent you. Their response will probably be, Chuck who? That's PDF Pen and PDF Pen Pro, now with Touch Bar support from Smile, the makers of world-class software, at smilesoftware.com. Thanks to Smile for their support of MacVoices. Brett was talking about upgrades and being able to push upgrades. Is this something? Do I have any concerns with Setapp that if I opt to use a program in Setapp that I'm not going to get the updates as quickly? Because there have been some issues surrounding that with the Mac App Store and their ability to deploy updates as quickly as a developer could just outside the App Store.
Well, comparing to the Mac App Store, we don't require any sandboxing or stuff like that could delay delivering the updates to the customers. Yes, developers will have to submit a separate version and separate update for their apps, but we hope this process will take much less time than in the App Store. And one of the ideas of Setapp is to offer customers always the latest version of the software. Yeah, it could have some delays while the developer submits the new version, but we really hope that all developers will have the latest version of their software on Setapp, and this is the value to the customers.
I would point out that my delays thus far with submitting to the Setapp have been a matter of hours, whereas my delays with the Mac App Store have been up to 3 weeks. So,
just
crazy.
It's even not the worst case scenario. We had 6 months waiting to deliver the update.
Yeah, 3 months, and then you get a rejection, and then you wait another month. Yeah, it's been. Things are getting better there, but yeah.
Right. But there's also on the Mac App Store, to defend it just a little bit, that they are passing through a whole lot of different filters, and I have
for sure.
I have the impression in Setapp that the responsibility is going to be a lot more on the developer than with Setapp, whereas in the App Store, the responsibility is with the developer, but also with Apple to be delivering something that's safe and secure.
Part of that is, and part of the beauty of it is that Setapp is being very exclusive about who they let in. They're not you don't get a bunch of copycat applications. It's not overrun. It'll never be overrun with shoddy software that really needs extra review. They're taking the responsibility for curating a very exclusive store.
So is Setapp by invitation for developers?
Yeah, we invite the developers to Setapp, and we pick only the best apps on the market. And like I said before, we want to have only the high reputable vendors, not the copycats or clones of 1,000-something. We want to have only the best apps. We also have a review process, but comparing to Apple, we really want to be friendly with the developers. We want to have partners, and we want to help them to deliver great software to the users. And we also have a lot of stuff we check during the review process. And one of the most important things is that the software is fully functional without any advertisement in app purchases and stuff like that. Because once customers are paying for the subscription, that they will expect to have a fully functional software, and this is really important.
Alex, you mentioned that you're getting information about which programs we're using for the distribution. So how long can my Mac be offline and still have access to the apps? It's sort of the same thing, I guess, as the Adobe model, where if I disconnect from the internet, I can still use my apps, but every so often the subscriptions have to call home to sort of check in to make sure that I'm still paying.
Well, that's a really interesting question. So we kept in mind that people can be offline, and this offline time can be really long. So we have a special delays, or we call it grace period, when the people can go offline up to 2 weeks after the subscription even expires. Once you purchase the subscription, you have a month, and then additional 2 weeks to go online. So you can, once you download the software, it receives the license. You can continue to use it offline wherever you are.
Okay, so next time Jeff goes on into the Amazon jungle, he doesn't have to worry about something stopping working.
I was going to say,
which is really important when I'm in the Amazon jungle.
Who goes off the internet for that long?
It's just a question. It's something that
no, it's a valid question, and it's something that I actually was very curious to hear answered. But it's that kind of question has been for a long time, like it was a valid consideration. But in the last 5, even 7 years, the idea of a computer that has no access to the internet, even with my own license validation stuff, like I need access to the internet from the user's computer to validate the license. I have never run into, I launched Mark maybe 6 years ago. I've never run into a customer that had so infrequent access to the internet that I couldn't perform those functions. So while yes, it is absolutely a valid question, I think that the solution, a 2-week grace period, I can't imagine that being an issue.
I can't imagine that being an issue either. I mean, if it was like every time the application launches, it needs to do a validation to for the license, that would be unacceptable. I will throw an example at you right now. Super Mario Run for the iPhone requires an always-on internet connection just to work. That's completely ridiculous.
Are they already out already?
No,
but on the iPhone,
it comes out on the 15th.
Okay, so airplane mode on the iPhone, but on an iPhone even more than the Mac you would expect. All right, that's a whole nother conversation.
The point is, based on what you said, the grace period for license checking seems to me to be surprisingly generous.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's really important for the customers to have access to their apps because they may have some important data. They may need to access it right away, and we don't want the customers to be frustrated when there is no internet connection.
Alex, I have to ask this question, or we're both going to get emails. You are somebody was heard from.
Nightshade just wanted to get her perspective in on this.
Oh, is that okay? Okay.
We also have cats in the office.
Yeah, me too. Yes, it'll happen eventually.
I have no cats here. So you're receiving information back on usage. Is that a security concern for any of us, or is it just strictly data usage and not access to any of what we're actually working on?
Sure. It's only the app usage data on what apps did you launch and some events that the apps can send, like keep alive requests and stuff like that. So based on these events, we calculate how much each app should earn in the end of the month.
All right. So then along those lines, are you tracking just the app usage for Setapp apps, or are you able to gather data for all the apps that someone is using?
Just for Setapp apps. So when the customer installs Setapp, we have a special daemon that controls everything in Setapp, and it is responsible for updates of the apps. It is responsible for delivering the licensing to the apps, and also for collecting and sending the app usage data to the server. But we never collect any personal information from customers.
Okay,
so
cool.
While Alex is completely capable of answering this question, I'll tell you from a developer perspective, Setapp offers the ability to track in an analytics way, track events within your own app. If there are privacy concerns, I think any developer incorporating the additional analytics features should make that either optional or fully be transparent about what you are tracking. But I mean, analytics are. I would be dismayed with any development platform that didn't allow me to at least figure out what features of my app were most used. And that's something I can do with Paddle, and that's something I can do with the Mac App Store. So the fact that Setapp and MacPaw also makes a DevMate platform. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's also awesome. Basically, every app you use now that phones home in any way, there are privacy concerns. And it's up to the developer to be responsible with that. And I assume that MacPaw is going to check what the developer is phoning home for. But for, basic usage statistics, I think that kind of thing it's a valid analytic. The user should be able to opt out, but yeah.
No, I agree. That I think that's really useful information for developers, and as long as it's handled responsibly, then I don't see any issue with developers getting that sort of automated feedback, so they know what features their users do want or do use all the time. And if there's a feature that just doesn't ever get used, okay, maybe that needs to go away in an update.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a matter of trust, right? You trust the developer, and now with the way that MacPaw is planning to curate their store, you can trust everything in Setapp. Like, these are hand-picked apps that have been carefully scrutinized. And when it comes to developer responsibility, the Mac App Store has, there's a lot of great stuff, but it has become very full of questionable apps.
Well, and discovery is so hard too.
Yeah, I feel like that's a whole second topic right there.
Oh yeah.
and you never know if the app is genuine or it's just a clone of and just another popular app on the Mac App Store. And it's horrible for the customers.
So I have a discovery question for you. And the way the interface works right now, I think, is really clever, because it opens up as a Finder window, and it looks like its own application folder where you just see everything listed, and has a little arrow to show you that you can download the apps and stuff. You double click on something and you can install it, and that's great. And with the number of apps that are available in the beta today, that's not a problem. What happens when you do start hitting those numbers that are much higher, where you have over 100 apps to choose from? How are you going to manage discoverability for your users?
Okay, that's also a great question. So, we had in mind the idea to make the user experience as simple as possible into installing and using the apps. So once you have access to Setapp, you see all the apps as they're already available for you, and you can click the app and see a quick description of the app, and if it is the one you were looking for, you can just press open, and that's it. Everything else is done in the background. And right now there are 50 apps already on the Setapp, and the discovery, as you said, is not a problem right now. And we decided to solve the discovery problem a bit later after the release, because obviously it is not the most important at the moment. Because if you will start sorting the apps by categories, there will be 2 or 3 apps in the category, and that's not enough for the category, I would say so. And when there will be more apps than 100 or 200, obviously the discovery will be a really important question that we will solve in the future. So I cannot tell right now how it will look like to the end customer. We are still experimenting with a lot of stuff, and we want to make it as easy as it is right now to install the apps in Setapp.
You know what? I love that answer, because that's an honest answer. That's an honest answer, that this is new. It's a new concept. It's experimental in a positive way, and that you don't have all the questions answered. I think that I congratulate you on that, because it leaves it open for everybody to sort of figure out what works, including you. And if nothing else, hey, we can just go in and scroll down the app folder.
Also, we are receiving a lot of feedback from beta customers, and there are a lot of great ideas coming to us, and probably one of the customers will help to solve this problem in the way that everyone will love it.
I do, guys, and Brett, maybe you can speak to this, or you and Jeff can speak to this a little more. I do want to just make sure we clarify on the phone home issue that apps are doing this now. I think that's something that a lot of people are not aware of. And if you install one of those utilities that shows you every time that an app is trying to make a connection out of your Mac, you can be a little horrified the first time. It's like, well,
yeah, you'll be freaked out in a really big way.
Yeah, what are all these apps doing, and who are they calling? And it is just something that is a fact of life today that is built in for developers to, if they're good developers and responsible developers, to help them manage features and develop new ones.
Well, this is a really important question, and even Apple has a special sessions during the last WWDC, how you should collect data and how you should anonymize data. And there are a lot of techniques that Apple recommends to use to anonymize data that you collect.
And for me, like in Marked, I can collect. So I track a very limited number of features just to see how they're used. And when I add a feature to that, it will always pop up a dialog for the user and say, do you want to allow Marked to anonymously track usage? And that basically, to me, if the user doesn't agree to that, I don't send anything home. I don't send anything back to a server. Like, that's always opt-in, and a developer always has that option.
I like how you do that. To me, that's the way it should be.
It absolutely should be that way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally fine sharing all kinds of usage information with developers because it's not an altruistic thing. It benefits me because if a developer knows how I'm using an app, then they're in a much better place to improve the app in a way that makes me even happier.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really important because you can understand which features are working and which features are frustrating the customer, and you can improve things.
Alex, I'm not sure if this is for you or for Brett, but I know this has happened now. It's a rare thing, okay, but it has happened more with Apple products, I think, than anything, but not always. How are the updates handled? And the reason I'm asking is because, first of all, there are times that I don't want to install an update right now. Might be compatibility issues, might be the issue that by installing a new version of the app, it's going to update the data file into a format that's not usable by an older version of the app. And for various reasons, I might not want that to happen. So are the updates something that I opt into as they come out, or are they just pushed out to me automatically?
Probably this is a question for me. We have an idea to always provide the customers with the latest version of the software, and to be able to offer like a compatible update to the previous version, it's really important for the developers to keep that in mind and to check all the possible problems that might happen when you update the previous version. Take, for example, web applications. You always have the latest version of your web applications, and developers can publish updates each day, every hour, and stuff like that. And you always use the latest version of this app. And same with Setapp. We really want developers and users to have the latest version with all the features that were delivered. And as you said, it is really important question to keep in mind to be sure that all data integrity is intact, stuff like that. But as a user, you have an option to stop the updates, but during this time, the developer should fix the possible problems if there are some.
I feel like I've been asking questions more from the user perspective, and Brett and Jeff have been talking more from the developer's perspective. That's one reason I wanted to have this group on, because there's so many different aspects of this, because it is so new. But I have to say that from the user experience perspective, it's terrific. I've got all the apps available to me listed right there in the folder. If I decide I want to try one or use one, I just double click it, and it does have to download the application itself, because it's not like you're getting those 50 or 60 apps downloaded to your machine all at once, which is also a very good thing. I can selectively pick the ones. Once I launch them, they install, and then they're ready to use. I think that's just such a brilliant model, because it doesn't junk up my machine with a lot of things that I don't want until I want them.
Yeah, what you have installed by default is like a quick previews of the applications. And yeah, if you like the app, you can just click and open, and everything else will be done in the background.
So now the beta user base right now, I'm assuming, is comprised primarily of people that are receptive to the idea of a monthly subscription for a bunch of apps. But more and more people are hearing about Setapp. Are you getting feedback from outside the user base about this service? And if so, what kind of feedback are you getting?
Well, of course, there are a lot of different feedback. Some people do love this model and idea. Some people hate subscriptions, and they say, I will never pay for a subscription app store. But in general, that people that are already into the beta of Setapp are using the software inside, and seems like they like it, because they use more and more software, and we don't see that they are leaving the system right now. So at the moment we have around 20,000 beta customers, and this is like a good number to understand how all this system works, and how exact we were with our prediction model.
Today's edition of Mac Voices is sponsored by Drobo, a family of safe, expandable, yet simple to use storage arrays. Drobos are designed to protect your important data forever. This holiday season, give someone a Drobo to keep all their files and memories safe forever. This holiday season, Drobo is giving Mac Voices listeners and viewers a chance to save big on the Drobo 5D, Drobo 5DT, Drobo 5N, and any 8-bay or 12-bay Drobo. Just visit drobostore.com and use the discount code MV20 to take 20% off your choice. That will save you from $100 to $800, depending on which Drobo you select. But that's not all Drobo is doing this holiday season. I had a chance to chat with Alex Herbert, Drobo's marketing coordinator, to talk about their social media presences and a new contest for the holidays. So let's start with the contest. What is the 12 Days of Giving?
So Drobo's 12 Days of Giving is a social media contest through Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We will be giving away different prizes every day. We will have a landing page for the contest with all the prizes listed. And it's just a way of showing appreciation to our followers and all our Drobo fans.
And you have a very nice list of sponsors that are helping you celebrate the 12 Days of Giving. And I know it's such a list that you probably have to read it, but take your best shot at trying to name them all.
So we do have some amazing sponsors, some great prizes. So we have ebooks from Tidbits, Mac Sparky, Joe on Tech, and the iTunes Frequent Asked Questions book from Next Track Podcast. This Week in Photo will be giving away a video training course. Carbon Copy Cloner will be giving away their license. A special edition TWIV Zika mug from Microbe, and the TV podcast and a text expander. PDF pen for Mac and iOS from Smile Software. And then we will also be bundling up a Drobo with Seagate drives. Scott Kelby will be giving away a Photoshop World Pass. So the contest will start Wednesday, December 14th, and you can find the link through any of our social media platforms and enter the contest.
And how does one enter the contest? What does that mean?
So if you just visit our landing page for the contest, we will be posting a hashtag of the day. So if you check every day, we will have the different prizes listed out. So all you need to do is tweet or post out that hashtag, and you'll be entered to win for the day. And we will be announcing the winner for the contest the next day.
Drobo gives you more ways to win great prizes, but if you don't win, you can still take advantage of their special offer. Again, visit drobostore.com and use the discount code MV20 to get 20% off the Drobo 5D, Drobo 5DT, Drobo 5N, and any 8-bay or 12-bay Drobo. Happy holidays, and thanks to Drobo for their ongoing support of MacVoices. Jeff, I think you've went at this in one direction. I'm going to go at it in another. Alex,
okay.
If I decide in 6 months that I'm not using Setapp or the apps within Setapp, and I'm not happy about it, and I discontinue my subscription, then, and I realize we talked about the grace period that Jeff had questioned you about, but now I'm the one that's deciding, not you, and not the developer. I'm not interested any longer. What happens to those apps? Do they just become deactivated?
Basically, yes. So it is like a rental model. If you rent something, you can use it. If you stop paying for the rental, you give it back. So what's good about this for the developers is that actually when people will try a new software on Setapp and they will get used to it, and for some reason they decide to leave the whole platform, they can go and buy this software outside of Setapp for the full price, if that makes sense for these customers.
But to Jeff's point, the data files remain on their computer untouched, just waiting to be opened back up by the app outside of Setapp.
Yeah, your info is your info.
Right.
Like your data is your data.
Yeah, we are not removing anything. You just lose the license for the app, and you cannot run it anymore. But all the data kept untouched. Kept.
I want to jump back. Can I jump back and say?
Sure.
You talked about how there are people who are okay with subscription models and they're going to be the ones interested in Setapp. But for me, it's the people who hate the idea of a subscription model. We're at a critical point where more and more developers are realizing that the subscription model is the only way to have sustainable development without doing major paid upgrades regularly. And so for people that are seeing this and they're very dissatisfied, like TextExpander has a lot of customers and a lot of very dedicated customers, and they recently went to a subscription model and it caused panic. People suddenly realize this app they literally use every 5 minutes without even thinking about it after they've gotten used to it. The idea that they would have to continue paying in order to be able to do that caused panic. And for those people, I think Setapp it's a salve. It's a balm to kind of provide a transition into an era where we want to support developers, but we don't want to pay for every single app. To me, it seems like the ultimate app store idea.
Yeah, so instead of paying for 20 different subscriptions for all the apps,
which would even at 99 cents would add up to $20 a month you're spending, and most of them are going to be $4.99, $9.99 each.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's an affordable, sustainable model.
So,
in
Brent,
my opinion, and I could be proven wrong. I'll say that, but
yeah, well. We need to try things. Brent, you were saying that we're at this critical juncture where developers are realizing that a subscription model is actually a really important business model for them because the sustained revenue just isn't there otherwise. And I think it's important that people realize this is the way of the future. Like it or not, your software is whatever apps you use, they are migrating at different rates into a subscription model. And we need to find ways to make subscription models viable, not just for developers, but for the end users.
Exactly.
And until Setapp was presented to me, I wasn't thinking of any way that was going to be viable. And this is the first setup that's been shown to me that looks like it has a chance, because it's more affordable than having to shell out $5 or $10 per app per month.
Right. Well, and to be fair, Mark will still be available for full purchase. So if someone is only using a few apps on Setapp and they do decide it's not worth a monthly fee just to use these 3 or 4 apps, I'll still be there. You can still go buy my app directly and own it. Mm-hmm. In fact, you can even do both. But it's the value of the entire store at your fingertips with no in-app purchases, full versions. That is, to me, actually better than, and especially some of the apps in Setapp are worth $50, $90, if you were going to buy them and own them. So $9.99 a month, when you look at all the value of all the apps, and if you can look at what you're actually going to use, in your workflow from that, I'm pretty sure the value is going to come out for just about everybody.
I think this is one of the brilliant things, though, Alex, that you've done, is that you're placing no restrictions on developers. They can sell outside. They can be listed in the Mac or the Mac App Store. They can do anything they want. They can also be included in Setapp, so that you've really succeeded giving the customer a choice as to which way they want to go. Now, the developer obviously has to support all the different models, and that's a whole other discussion too. But from the Setapp perspective, you're not blocking anybody or insisting that they're. Well, I don't know. I should ask. I mean, do you foresee a time when there might be a Setapp exclusive application?
Well, we thought about it, and maybe there could be offers like this. We're still under question what to do with free applications that are great, but are free. We cannot add them to Setapp because obviously this revenue share model will not work for them and probably other developers. And we thought about the opportunity to probably offer to join Setapp as an exclusive offer for free apps. Probably, it is not our final decision, but maybe it will work in the future.
There are multiple kinds of free apps, though. You have freemium apps, where you use them, and if you actually want to really use them, you pay. There are free apps with in-app purchases, and then there are free apps that I don't even know what their business model is. Sometimes ads, sometimes just magnanimous developers giving stuff away.
Yeah, sometimes donationware.
Donation,
right. Yeah. And to be able, donationware, I feel, is the one that Alex is talking about. These apps that on Setapp, they wouldn't be able to request donations. They would need to have a set price in order for the business model to work. But for freemium apps and stuff, I feel like that stuff's dying anyway. I think we're seeing freemium apps, as they are required financially to raise their prices, people are just walking away. They're not really into the idea. I mean, Evernote has lots of users and a lot of happy users, but when they raised their prices, there was a pretty big exodus.
Yeah, I'm part of that exodus. I ended up going to OneNote, and not because I don't want to pay.
You
for my
went
software.
to Microsoft.
That's
know. Heavy.
Boom.
I know. but the value.
I know what you're saying. I do.
For OneNote, for the features that I use, in Evernote. So I went over to OneNote.
Yeah. But see, it goes back to my point, I guess. If I'm paying, I love the company X, okay, a subscription model. I know that part of that model is being shaved off by the credit card companies for processing the payments. And then I go to company Y, and the credit card companies are shaving off that much. So where I might be paying $5 a month to them, and I'm going to make this up, folks, so I don't know, but I'm paying $5 for the subscription, but $1 of it is going to the credit card company. So they're really only getting $4, and that disturbs me. Here, I feel like I'm going to be paying one price, whatever it ends up being, $9.99 a month, and I don't have all that ancillary baggage that goes along with subscribing. So I think that's a huge win-win here for everybody across the board.
Well, actually, so we do also pay to the credit card companies from each charge we will make each month, and so we can go anywhere from this. So.
Yeah, but Alex, you're doing it. Of course you are, but you're doing it once and I'm subscribing to 30, 60 apps, as opposed to having 60 transactions that have been shaved. And that's where I think it makes a big difference.
Yeah, once per month. Yeah.
Oh, I get it. Chuck, what you're saying is you like the idea that the credit card company is getting a smaller percentage overall of your money through this, as opposed to having to pay for the apps individually.
Or to flip it around, that the developers are getting a bigger share of the subscription. Yes, that's
so.
Right.
A, you used ancillary in a sentence, which I'm really happy about. And B, yeah, that is actually a beautiful part of it, because you're right. 16 charges to different developers would add up to smaller for everybody. And Setapp is very transparent with how the fees are distributed. You know why you're getting what you're getting, and what you're not getting, they've been very clear about where it's going. What's going to development, maintenance, what's going to financial processing charges, all of this. And the app, the Mac App Store has not been terribly opaque about that. I'm not complaining. The 70-30 split has always made sense to me. The amount of exposure and them handling international credit processing, it's been good. And I feel like Setapp there's no downgrade there. They've been so transparent. It's been great thus far. I haven't made any money yet, but I have high hopes.
Yeah, but the day is young.
It's still in beta.
Well, and it hasn't officially launched yet, so I'm not.
I hope everyone will be satisfied with the results when we launch.
I
have high hopes.
Well, okay, let's go with that for a second. Then I've got one more question I want to make sure I get to. But where does Setapp stand right now? It's in beta. So what does that mean for the average person listening to this that says, hey, this sounds pretty good, I would like to go and try it?
Well, right now on the setapp.com, we have a special registration button where you can leave your email and go to the waiting list. And probably we will add more beta users to test how everything works, and probably this is a good way to bring a lot of early adopters to the platform, because early adopters are the people who will promote your product in the future if they like it. And this is really important before going to the mass market. And with this beta, we want to offer people like you and a lot of other technology people an early access to Setapp, get great feedback from them, fix all the stuff that is broken, and we hope everything will be much better when we release.
Do you have this is a dangerous question, Alex, I know it, I'm sorry, but do you have a target when this will be open to the public?
Yeah, we have a target. It is end of January, and I hope if everything will be okay, we will launch in January.
Great. The question I wanted to ask, because it seems like sort of an obvious one, if I have a favorite developer or a favorite product that I think I would like to see in Setapp that would fit the model and would fit the quality requirements, if you will, is there a process yet, or will there be a process to nominate apps for Setapp?
Yeah, right now on Setapp.com you can suggest an app to be added to Setapp, and we hope to make this process a bit more public. So even the developers who have not yet agreed to participate in Setapp will be able to see how many people vote for them, and probably this will be more interesting for them to join if they know how many people do really want to see us. And also early success will really help us a lot to bring more great people on board, because for bigger companies like probably one password or Sketch, for example, it's a bit risky to join Setapp at the very early stage, because they have a high volume and they don't know what yet to expect. And I'm really grateful for all developers right now that we have on Setapp. They agreed to join, because actually this is probably the most difficult task we had to do, is to bring all the developers on board for the product launch. And I'm really grateful everyone that participate in Setapp. So it was probably even more harder at the very beginning that to develop all these technologies. It was harder to bring the people on board. And it's really great that we already have 50 apps, and I hope we will not let them down.
Jeff, anything else that we haven't touched on from your perspective?
No, I think I've been grilling Alex pretty hard already.
So what's new about that? You grill everybody hard.
Yes, but I do it with love.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Brett, how about from the developer perspective? Anything we've missed or that you want to highlight?
Really, from the developer's perspective, I feel like we have covered the bases. If developers are watching this, I would say, get in touch. If you have an app that you feel should be in the App Store, try to get it in. I can't see any reason not to. I would say that one of the things that really sold me on being in Setapp was the amount of care they have put into selecting apps, building the App Store, and promotion. They have been very careful. They have set reasonable dates, time limits. They have communicated with developers extremely well, whether it's email or the Slack channel or personal Skype calls. They are making sure that this launches in a way that has the absolute best chance to succeed, which as a developer who, taking a risk or not, it's very comforting. I've been really impressed with that part.
Thanks. Well, we also wanted to make the process of integrating Setapp to your app really simple, and we made really a lot of efforts to make a really simple and secure library that you implement into your app to be able to manage all the licensing, updates, and data tracking stuff.
Yeah, really seriously, to get it going, you drop in a header file and a static library and add a line of code, and technically at that point you're in.
Wow.
So then you have to make sure that all your in-app purchases have you have a build that can bypass any checks on those. But yeah, it's well done.
Thanks.
And secure.
Alex, congratulations. I'm confident that this is going to be a great thing, simply because it's so well thought out, as Brett and Jeff have said. We've seen some things, try to do an alternative app store and do different things, and there were lots of reasons that they failed. And this one feels like it works for the customer. It seems to work for the developer. I think it works across the board. So, congratulations and thank you.
Thank you.
For the folks that want to learn more about it, see all the apps, and folks, I would encourage you to go and see all the great developers who've signed up for this. The website is?
Setapp.com.
Excellent. Alex, where can folks find you? Do you have social media presences or anything that you'd like to have people follow you, or should we just go to MacPaw.com?
So if you want to follow me personally on Twitter, it's Kosovan, my Twitter account, and for everything else, so we have Twitter accounts on our website, MacPaw.com.
Excellent. Thank you so much for staying up a very late Kiev time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for the invitation. It was really a pleasure to speak with all of you.
We'll do it again.
Thank you.
Jeff, I know where to find you, but where does everybody else find you?
Well, when I'm just out roaming the internet, you can usually find me on Twitter, Gamet. Same thing on Instagram, and also over at freshbrewedtales.com, where I write about the ridiculous things I see people do in coffee shops.
Great. Do you roam the internet often, Jeff?
Yes, like a vagabond.
Okay. That's just leaving this picture in my mind.
It's better than cruising the internet.
Oh, Jesus.
Way better.
Whoa. Brett.
Edit.
Yeah, edit. Brett, where can folks find you?
BrettTerpstra.com. If you go to the project, it's BrettTerpstra.com/projects. You'll find like all of my podcasts and apps and stuff. And then TTScoff, TTSCOFF on Twitter, GitHub, Facebook, Last.fm, anything you want. Like, it's always TTScoff. I've owned that bizarre combination of consonants and one vowel.
Excellent. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Folks, thank you for joining us. Hopefully you've enjoyed this discussion. If you think it's a little premature because the product's not out completely yet, well, maybe so. But it's such a new product that we wanted to get the concepts into your head and let you start to think about them, experiment with them, and hopefully sign up for the beta as well. I think you will enjoy the experience. So
I also would love to hear your feedback as well.
There you go. So you can help shape the future of Setapp if you go and sign up for the beta. That's good. Thank you, Alex. I'm Chuck Joyner. This is MacVoices, the MacJury on MacVoices. We'll be back with more soon. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes, links to subscribe, and to connect with Chuck on Twitter, Google+, Facebook, YouTube, Vimeo, SoundCloud, the MacVoices blog, the MacVoices Dispatch, our weekly newsletter, and on MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard that helps you do more with your Apple tech. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com, bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com. Congratulations, you made it to the end, and you watched through the credits, and I really appreciate that. Sometimes I'll put outtakes here or different things, but this time I wanted to put something special just for you. The folks at MacPaw have given me a limited number of beta invites to Setapp to give out, and I couldn't think of a better way to at least start the process by putting something here so that you get it first, since you watched the show and watched it the whole way through. So if you want to try out Setapp, send me an email, chuck@macvoices.com, with the subject line, I want Setapp. That way I can find it easily and get it back to you. I'll send you a link to sign up for the beta, and you can try out Setapp, the concept that we just discussed, as well as all the great programs that they have currently signed up. So again, an email to chuck@macvoices.com with the subject line, I want Setapp. Thanks so much for being part of the MacVoices family. I hope you enjoy it. Happy holidays.